And really, what was wrong with what Naomi did? Nothing, actually. If you read the story, which I presume most who have taken such a cruel attitude toward newcomers to Judaism have not, they would have known that in the story of Ruth, they're suffering through a famine. But Naomi gets word that the famine has ended in Judah, so she obviously presumes that the only reason her daughter-in-laws want to join Israel is not because of the God of Israel, but because of the physical benefit. That's why she tells them, "Why do you want to join me? I am too old to have any more sons. Go back to your people." Now, we see that this argument is enough to dissuade Bilpah, but not Ruth. But Ruth, being determined, tells Naomi why she wants to join in the famous statement that she wants her people and her God to also be hers, which is why virtually every code of halacha has never understood this as the way to treat potential converts, but only the way you treat someone who you suspect has an ulterior motive. Because in the story, the relationship that Naomi had with her daughter-in-laws was till then a relationship out of convenience and necessity, as it states that even the famine killed her sons. So she was certain that the only reason they wanted to accompany her was because of the food and not because of God. In other words, if from the outset Ruth would have said, "I want to join the people of Israel because I want to live Torah," there would have not been any type of dissuasion. As a matter of fact, we actually see that Naomi was walking both Ruth and Bilpah to the road towards Jerusalem and then started questioning them. Why did she take them closer to Israel? Because clearly she wanted nothing more than for her daughters to choose the right path. And friends, this is exactly the way the Halacha explains it, and even the way that we see that Parshas Vayera Bo B'Shalach describe it. That we have God himself reaching in the lives of the disconnected Israelites and drawing them to him. And as we see in the narrative, that even though we see God reaching out, he didn't accept anyone unless they were willing to follow wholeheartedly and obediently. To the point that in the same parsha, we have the Israelites telling Moses, "We told you to leave us alone, to let us serve Pharaoh." But clearly Moses did not listen to them, but pursued and kept drawing them to God, which is why the rabbis have always said that from these parshas we learn how to treat converts, which is why, according to halacha, we tell a potential convert, "Why did you choose to convert? Don't you know that in the present era the Jews are afflicted, crushed, subjugated, strained, and suffering comes upon them?" If he answers, "I know, would it be that I'd be able to be a part of them?" we accept him immediately. And we also see that the Almighty first gave Israel light commandments like believing in Moses, and then heavier ones like getting rid of their chametz and smearing the lamb's blood on their doorposts, because the Almighty didn't demand too much of them lest they fall away. Even like we said in the beginning of the parsha, that it states that the Almighty led them a different way in the desert, lest that because of their panicking, they turn from the good path to the bad path, which is why the halacha states further that we inform him of the fundamentals of the faith, the unity of God, and the prohibition against the worship of false deities. We elaborate on this matter, and we inform him of the punishment given for violating the mitzvahs. However, we do not teach him all the particulars, lest it cause him to turn away from the good path to the bad path. For at the outset, we draw a person forth with soft and appealing words, as it states in Hosea 11:4, "With cords of man I drew them forth out of Egypt," and then continues with bonds of love. And again, friends, here in Hosea 11:4 it states that this is how the Almighty drew Israel out of Egypt, and it's the same verse used by the halacha to describe how we are to treat converts and bring them out of their old life into their new one. And you're probably asking, where does the book of Ruth come in? Well, halacha does mention Ruth, but like we stated earlier, only with how you treat someone who you assume to be insincere. As it states, for a man we check whether he has focused his attention on a woman. For a woman we check whether she has focused her attention on a Jewish youth. If we find no ulterior motive, we inform them of the heaviness of the yoke of the Torah and the difficulty of the common people having in observing it, so that they will abandon. If they accept and do not abandon their resolve, and thus we see that they are motivated by love and nothing else, we accept them as indicated in Ruth 1:18. And she saw that she was exerting herself to continue with her, and she ceased speaking with her. And again, this explains why Naomi did what she did, because she thought there was an ulterior motive. Now, this only applies when someone approaches you to convert. It's obvious that one should be skeptical, as skeptical as one should be when an ethnic Jew attempts to return. However, this is not the example shown to us in these parshas, which is that when we reach out and cultivate such a love in someone else, that the only thing that matters is that person's belief and will to want to do what's right. in this case, walk in the ways of God, which the Rambam states is an acceptable practice for every Jew to do, to teach Torah to others and draw them to Judaism, which he also states that if we fail to do, we fail to fulfill the mitzvah of loving the Creator. In other words, that the only reason we would ever want to discourage someone is not because we don't want converts, but we don't want insincere Jews calling themselves Jews, both from the non-Jewish world or the ethnic Jewish world. And as you may have noticed, that nowhere in halacha are we instructed to offer the non-Jew interested in converting a different belief system like the Noahide laws, to the point that we tell the non-Jew, know that the world to come is hidden away only for the righteous. They are the Jews. So in other words, this is a standard. Now, this isn't teaching that a righteous Gentile will not have a place in the world to come, but that the world to come is only hidden away for Jews, although non-Jews can still have a share, but clearly only a lesser share. And friends, if you want to learn more about Torah Judaism, please visit bejewish.org. And if you're interested in converting to Judaism, which I encourage you to do, please visit Torah Judaism International at torahjudaism.org. Thank you.